Well, good day, everyone. Welcome to my show. Welcome to Partners in Health and Biz. I'm your host, Gail Dixon McBride, and I'm so very happy you could tune in today. So, today I have a very special show planned for you, and it is something that you do not want to miss. Yes, indeed. I'm your natural health consultant, and I would like to share with you today five food dangers. Five food dangers, five things that are in a lot of your foods. And these things that I'm talking about are food dyes or food colorings, and they are in most of the packaged and processed foods. If you are eating any of these, if you are giving certain types of foods to your children, if you are eating these foods, and I'm talking about foods that most people eat, okay? So there are five dyes, and they are red dye, number 40, yellow dye, number 5, yellow dye, number 6, and blue dye, number 1. So, and then there's something called caramel. So, those are the things that I want to talk to you about. Now, before you start saying, well, this probably doesn't apply to me, well, maybe it doesn't. Are you eating God's foods? Only God's foods. And you may ask me, Gail, what are God's foods? So when we talk about God's foods, those foods in the Bible, those foods that are healthy, no matter what, we're talking about meats, fish, vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains. We're talking about nuts and seeds. Those are God's foods. If you're eating those foods and you're not eating packaged foods or processed foods, then you most likely are okay. But listen to this. What about those M&Ms that you eat? Did you know that those M&Ms that seem to look so good and they're beautiful, they have these bright colors, red and yellow, and these foods that have these dyes are dangerous. They are petroleum derived dyes. That's right, you're ingesting products that have originated from crude oil. And what is crude oil? Well, that's what goes into your car when you go to the gasoline station and fill up. So there's candy and drinks, and they're crazy shades of all types of beautiful colors that you see in these candies. If you're eating them or you're getting them to your children, even certain types of alcohol, well, these contain carcinogenic colors. This means that these dyes cause cancer. And many countries, Norway and Sweden and all other countries, a lot of other countries have banned these foods, but not the United States. So be very careful. The Center for Science in Public Interest recommends avoiding caramel color as well as these synthetic dyes, such as red dye number 40, yellow dye number 5, and yellow dye number 6, and blue dye number 1. So, what should you be doing? I'm not trying to panic anyone. This has been going on for years. But go to your pantry and see what's in there. Read the labels. I want to encourage everyone to start, if you haven't already done so, start reading the labels and be very diligent about reading the labels and knowing what's exactly in your food. Strawberry sundaes. Yeah, you think, okay, that's good, right? Well, there's some fast food restaurants, not to name any specifically, that carry these strawberry sundaes. And the strawberries, I'm telling you, are not even real strawberries. They're artificial, and they have red dye number 40 in those. What is that? It contains benzidine. It's a known carcinogen. Benzidine, this red dye. And this affects your DNA. It damages your DNA. This dye has been found in cereal, candies, all types of food that you could get at your local grocery store or wherever you buy your food. And some of the foods you may not expect. There's red dye number 40 in Lay's stacked sour cream and onion chips, for example. So let's talk about blue dye number 1. Have you ever noticed that if you've ever purchased a pair of jeans and they're brand new, that you may see a blue tinge on your skin if you haven't washed them first? Well, this is that dye, blue dye number 1, that's seeping out of the material into your skin. So, as you may know, our skin is the largest organ of our body. But unlike other food dyes, these dyes, such as blue dye number 1, it does leak into our cells, and it may cause nerve cells to malfunction. It contributes to cancer, chromosomal damage, allergic reactions. Some of you and some of your children may be acting strange and you don't know why, or you may be having an allergic reaction. Well, this could be because of the dyes that are, because they're on your skin or in your body. Yes, they are affecting your cells. They are affecting your cells. So if you're having an irritation, if you're having stomach upsets, if you're just not feeling right after eating some foods or candies such as the M&Ms I mentioned, then these particular dyes you may be allergic to them. Even if you're not allergic to them, if you continue to ingest these type of dyes over the years, the studies have shown that you can develop cancer. And studies have also shown that they can affect your sperm count. And so for instance, if you take antacids, listen to this. I went to the grocery store the other day, and I wanted to, instead of buying the regular Tums that many people used to back in the day, they were just the mint Tums, which contain a chalky calcium to help with indigestion, right? So I said, let me just have some in the house, right? So I looked on the shelf and saw that there were these colored Tums, and they were red and blue and yellow. And I didn't think anything of it until I got home. And then I said, wait a minute, why are these Tums colored red, yellow, and blue? What type of dye is this? Of course, I read the label and it said red dye number 40, blue dye number 1, yellow dye number 5, and yellow dye number 6. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm not eating this, I'm not taking this, and no one in my family is going to take this. So I threw them in the trash, even though I just purchased them. So yes, and so just think about all the products on our shelves that we're giving to our children, our grandchildren. These multicolored cereals, and they look good and they're packed with sugar, but do you realize they have, for the most part, if you're not buying organic or natural, uh, eating products that are natural, then most of these products have these chemicals. And after a period of time, they may not affect you right away. They may not affect your children right away. But after a period of time, they could cause serious illnesses. Maybe your child has been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or attention hypertensive disorder. Maybe your child or has this, and it's only because they're eating unhealthy foods that are laden with these chemical dyes. So I encourage you, everyone, the first thing I want you to do, go in your pantry and start reading your labels, the labels on your food. Go in your freezer and turn over the boxes. If you're not eating all of God's food, and you have packaged foods and processed foods, and look for these particular dyes. If they're in there, throw those away. FDA accepts 5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. So that means they they will allow this because they're saying it's only a small amount of these dyes that cause cancer. They'll let it go and they're not going to tell you. So what you have to do is be diligent yourself and remember that it's the cumulative effect over time that's going to, and just think of the Kool-Aid. Can you imagine all the dyes growing up as when we were young? We drank Kool-Aid. Yes, I drank Kool-Aid, and it's got red dye and blue dyes and all these different dyes. Not good. Most candies that we give our kids that have colors, not good. Hyperactivity, restlessness has been reported, and kids who have already been diagnosed with ADHD may see improvement in symptoms if yellow dyes and other food colors are kicked out of their diets. So it's up to us, parents and grandparents, to protect our children. In fact, many kid-friendly foods that, such as Kraft has yellow 5 and 6. Even your macaroni and cheese has yellow 5 and 6 dyes. And these cheeses that aren't natural, they have yellow 5 and 6 dyes. So, and then let's talk about the caramel coloring. It sounds delicious, right? Caramel or caramel, but the coloring effects are far from appetizing. So, more of this coloring is found in much more food than candy. The highest levels are actually in colas. Yes, Coca-Colas, Diet Colas. Of course, none of that is good. It contains much too much sugar, and sugar we know has it leads to diabetes and cholesterol and all types of terrible things. Worcestershire sauce, gravy, beer, pre-cooked meats. All of these have this caramel colored dye. And when produced with ammonia, it contains cancer causing contaminants, methyliodazole and 4-methyliodazole. So I just want to stop there. I hope you are convinced. If not anything, I hope you've learned that reading food labels is very important. If you don't believe me about these dyes, you can look them up on the internet. These things have been reported in the news about these colors, these dyes. So I just want you to be very diligent because it's up to us. Again, if you love your body, then you want to do what's best for your body. You want to protect your body. You want to protect your children, your family, your husband, your mother, your father. You want to make sure that you're doing the best thing. So the best thing is before buying anything. I know we want to run into the store and pick up a quick this and a microwave that, but the best thing to do is to eat healthy, natural foods, God's foods, our fruits and our vegetables. Even them, even though some of those, if you're not getting organic, guess what? Some of those could possibly have some dyes, some food colorants. And a lot of these foods that we buy have these protections, they call them protections. But it's only these chemicals they put in our foods to expand the shelf life, so that these manufacturers can uh, sell these products and they can be sold to you. They look beautiful. Oh, yes, they look beautiful. This bright red color and they're shiny. Some of them are coated with wax, these apples, and some of them are injected with all types of chemicals just to keep the food on the shelf longer so that they can sell more food. Okay, well, I am going to sign off for today, and I hope you certainly have gained some knowledge, and it's my job to share with you what I know. And I'd like to hear from my listeners. If you have a topic that you would like me to discuss as your natural health consultant, then I'd like to hear from you. You can email me, partnersinhealthandbiz@gmail.com.